Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to week 3 of Around the Nest. I'm your host, Sam Montag. The Hawks had a tough week this week, starting with a tie at Harwich, and then following the loss to Katuitt, they went 1-1 against YD. But there were still definitely some bright spots. One of those was Jaxon Willits. The infielder from Oklahoma went crazy at the plate. He was led by his discipline and patience, and it spread to the entire team. Max Schwartzberg has more in A Hawks View.
Thanks, guys. Max Schwartzberg here at Jaxon Willits. Jaxon, you're off to a great start this summer. How's your approach changed between the metal bat to the wood bat?
It really hasn't changed. I'm just trying to keep doing the same thing I've done my whole life, just see a fastball, hit a line drive at the middle, and give myself room for error, either pull side or opposite field, and I feel like I've done a good job with that.
And you've been drawing a lot of walks. How have you kept the strike zone so tight and been able to just keep yourself in advantage counts?
I feel like I've fouled off a lot of tough pitches since I've been out here, and ultimately when you do that, pitchers have to make more pitches, and eventually you get to where you draw a walk or something like that.
I think from your perspective, team seems to be hitting really well this season. What do you think is the game changer and how you guys have had a good approach at the plate?
I think we're a tough team to strike out, and when you're a tough team to strike out, you make the defense make plays, and on these fields out here, it's tough to make plays sometimes. So when they have to make plays and they have to make extra outs because we're not striking out, it helps us score a lot more runs.
Thanks so much, Jaxon. Guys.
Thanks, Max. Well, as the team approaches the midway point of the season, focuses begin to shift onto playoffs. The Hawks are hoping to repeat their championship of the Western Division once again this year, and our own Giovanni Collado caught up with Coach Cogliano to talk more about it.
Giovanni Collado here, Diamond Side, for catching up with Cags with one Rich Cogliano. Coach, happy 4th of July weekend, a nice holiday weekend up here on the Cape. What's the meaning of this weekend to you?
It means everything. I'm a first-generation American. My mother came here. My grandparents all came here from other countries, and thank you.
Some love from Andrew Williamson.
That's Shampoo Williamson.
How do you earn that nickname?
Well, because he has beautiful hair, and it has blonde streaks in it, and I've never seen a male with that before. And he said it was a shampoo, so I call him Shampoo. Also, the other night, when Ray was at bat, I don't know if you remember, the bat slipped out of his hand. Yep. It hit Andrew's hair and broke. The bat broke on his hair.
I was going to say, I hope nothing broke for Andrew.
No, the bat, that's how much stuff he has in his hair. The bat broke on his hair.
It's that strong that it can withstand the force of a wood bat.
It's amazing hair. Look at him. Amazing hair.
Sure is amazing hair.
Shampoo.
We're talking about your hair. He's in the dugout, folks. Let's get back to baseball a little bit and away from hair. But talk about the Cape League being such a great place for players and for teams, coaches to come up here and develop. With individual success at the forefront, but also team goals still prevalent, how do you manage both those things?
Team goals. That's a good question. It's difficult to get everybody on the same page sometimes. Unfortunately, in this league, and you can't really blame them, these are the best of the best. And a lot of times the kids, they worry more about their batting average. They kind of know their batting average by the time they get to first. So keeping them focused on the fact that we're also here to win baseball games. Obviously, you want to showcase our talent, but winning baseball games should be the priority for everyone. I know it is for the coaching staff. So sometimes explaining that, it takes a couple weeks to get that through their heads a little bit.
What are some of the things you'll say to them in the early goings that will try to get that and speed that process up?
What I always say is, listen, if we have to play in this league, let's win it. I don't know what you get. Maybe you don't get anything, but at least you have the pride of saying, yeah, for the rest of your life, I won the Cape League. And some of the teams are a little lackadaisical. They're waiting to get out of here. Be the team that's here every day with your head in the game, and you want to win. That's the message I give them.
And we talk about some of these great players that have come through the Cape Cod Baseball League. Are there any players, specific teams that you've coached that you use as examples of what you're trying to say?
Well, this is only my second year in the Cape, but I coached Legion Ball for a long time, had draft picks. But Kane Kepley is the player that I always, and everyone gives me a hard time because I always talk about him, but the kid was unreal, and he's, I've always said if I had to start a game, I'd start it with Derek Jeter. And I think the second player I'd have would be Kane Kepley. So that's who I really use as an example.
That's high praise for Kane, but maybe some dangerous waters with Jeter up here in Boston.
Oh, I'm one of the few people that likes both the Red Sox and the Yankees. Obviously, I root for the Red Sox when they're playing them, but I've always loved the way the Yankees play the game, their style, and I've always loved Jeter as the most clutch athlete I've ever seen.
I'm going to expose myself here, but as a New Yorker, I love that. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Coach, happy 4th to you. Looking forward to a great weekend of baseball. Thanks for your time.
Happy 4th, and happy 4th to everybody out there in Harbor Hawk land, and God bless America.
Guys?
Thanks, Gio, and thank you, Coach Cogliano. Stick around after today's episode to see a special inside look on Andrew Williamson's hair and how he gets it so perfect. Well, the week was full of a lot of great plays, and Coach Cogliano hinted that this team is really the best of the best. But we took some of the top plays of the week and highlighted them for you. So let's send it over to Graham Nash and Giovanni Collado for the best of the nest.
Thank you, Sam. Welcome back to Best of the Nest. Can't believe it's week 3 already. Giovanni Collada with Graham Nash. And Graham, it might not have been the best week in the win-loss column for Hyannis. That doesn't mean there weren't highlight reel plays this week.
That's exactly right. And we've got a lot of defensive plays on the docket. Exactly 3. So no offense this week for Hyannis, all defense.
Let's get right into it with an incredible grab from Matt Mira this past Friday against YD. Check it out.
On July 4th, a man in scoring position for YD and Hyannis is down 1, trying to get out of a 2-out inning. And this wouldn't be done by those in the infield. It's going to be someone over in center. Matt Mira trailing this ball, catches on the run. Kept the game at a 2-1 ball game. Phenomenal route to the ball. Very well done, Matt Mira. Hyannis did end up losing that game, but a phenomenal run and catch for Matt Mira. One of a couple long snags we've got today.
We got a long snag coming from the infield. Jeff Luigi goes full Superman on this next one. Another 7th inning and another defensive highlight for Hyannis. Here, it's against YD at home, and look at Luigi go! Onto his back, full extension dive to end the 7th and keep it a tie game for Hyannis. And that could be play of the year, much less play of the week, Graham. Just an incredible grab from Luigi, goes full extension there. And Graham, as significant as that catch was then, Hyannis ended up winning in the bottom of the 8th inning 3-2 in a weather-shortened game. So that was a huge play for Luigi.
It really was. And speaking of huge plays, we've got a couple now that we want to highlight as our third play, a large collection of plays of the week. Check out the strikeouts Hyannis put together against Harwich. Thomas Crabtree got us started. 5 Ks through the first 3 innings. No Ks in the 4th, but then how about the response? From innings 5 through 10, Hyannis put up 13 strikeouts. Gio, they struck out 18 of the 30 outs recorded in this game against Harwich. Just kind of how the game went, though. They tied it. And that's just kind of how the week went, Gio. 18 strikeouts, but still a tie for Hyannis. The offense still trying to find some grooves in their groove in July.
Let's see if they can for the rest of this month as the playoffs approach. That's going to do it for us on Best of the Nest Week 3. We'll see you next week for Week 4. Sam, back to you.
Thanks, guys. We had some really incredible plays this week, and personally, that Jeff Luigi play had me up on my feet in the booth. The pitching this week has gone really well for the Harbor Hawks and for Coach Carricker. Despite a rough outing against Katuitt in the middle of the week, the pitching has really found their groove and settled back in. Allowing only 4 runs against YD in their 2 appearances, they've really been firing from all cylinders, and Graham Nash has more now.
Thanks, Sam. Hyannis pitching really found a groove this past week. Over the last 5 games, they combined struck out 36 batters, an unbelievable number highlighted by 18 Ks against Harwich on the road. Now, that game ended in a tie, but still a lot of good things to look out for the pitching. The one thing that has stuck out every time we ask Mitch Carricker about the pitching, this is what he harps on. The free passes have still been high. 23 walks over the course of those 5 games for Hyannis pitching, so that needs to get cleaned up. That is what manager Mitch Carricker has told us he wants to see get fixed, because that is what's kept other teams in these ball games. Last night against YD on the road on July 4th, Hyannis had 8 hits compared to YD's 4. However, YD won the game 2-1 because of those walks. They didn't have any hits with runners in scoring position. They just got a walk, and then someone would hit a double or a triple, and the base runner would come their way around. So those free passes has been the killer for Hyannis pitching. That being said, they did really find a groove. They've kept all of their opponents over the last 5 games under 5 runs. The offense just kind of disappeared. Offense also didn't score more than 5 runs in any of the last 5 games, so they're trying to put the pieces together. It's only 4 games into July, so a lot of time for them to get that confidence back on the mound and at the plate come August. But that's what's really causing Hyannis issues right now, are the walks. But if they keep striking out 18 a game, 36 over 5 games, I think Mitch Carricker is going to be happy. Sam?
Thanks, Graham. The pitching has really been dominant all week long, from Tsubasa Tommy pitching a lights-out performance at YD to Richie Roman putting on his best start of the season this year. But the pitching is not the only thing that has found its groove this week at McKeon Park. The fans are putting on a performance, coming out every night, whether it's quite literally finding their groove during the 7th inning chicken dance to showing up in massive quantities night after night. They continue to impress and continue to support these Harbor Hawks. Well, that will do it for this week of Around the Nest. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Hawks are back in action this coming week, looking to build off their end-of-week momentum and secure themselves further into first place. Once again, stay tuned for an Andrew Williamson special look interview right after this. I'm Sam Montag. I've been your host this week, and we'll see you next week.
Giovanni Collada here with Rich Cogliano and Andrew Williamson, right fielder for Hyannis. Andrew, Coach Cogliano lauded whatever your hair process is. Could you shed some light on what you're doing to make it look like that?
You know you use lemon juice in the morning.
No, that's not the case.
What do you use? What's your product to go? What's your go-to product? Because it broke the bat the other night on your head.
I just use shampoo. I try to use sulfate-free stuff. And yeah, you know, I'm thankful to Lord Jesus that, He gave me this. I'm thankful for it.
The flow?
Yeah.
You thanking Jesus for your flow? Yes. All right.
But yeah, for baseball, just kind of shampoo, conditioner, and then if me and Coach Rich want to go do something afterwards, then we can maybe throw something in there, some paste or something maybe.
How do you get it so strong enough to break a wood bat?
That's a fib. That did not happen. A bat was flying at me, and I moved out of the way. And
the way I remember it broke on its head. That's what I remember.
We got to check the broadcast tapes to see if we can get the video back of that.
I might be wrong, but that's how I remember it. And that's how I will always remember it, that the bat broke in half on his ear.
Andrew?
No, I almost broke in half because of the bat.
I got nothing more for you folks.
Wait, before you go, during the game, just do a close-up in right field of his hairdo, and you'll get more viewers.
Sure, we sure will. I'm very excited for that. Andrew, thanks for your time.
Tell the people happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, y'all. And happy birthday to me coming up soon. So.
All right.